Okay, so get this.
Gotta, yeah.
We got a message from a listener, right? And they are totally convinced that birds.
Aren't real,
Oh, yeah, it's like.
like, at all. They're, like, totally convinced that birds are robots. No,
Sounds crazy, right?
it does sound a little crazy, yeah.
But
They sent over, like, this whole document. They call
call it like the.
proof that birds are robots.pdf.
Oh, wow.
So,
We
naturally.
really had to dive into this.
All right, let's do it,
So strap in.
because things are about to get weird.
Let's get weird.
So this document
It claims that all birds, like every single one,
have been robots since, get this, 1987.
1987.
1987, like, they all just, poof, turned into robots.
The birds all just turned into robots one day.
Sure.
How would they even?
How would they pull that off?
I don't know.
Like, logistically.
You think about the scale of that.
You're talking billions of birds all over the world.
Yeah.
You think they just swooped in with giant nets?
Or maybe it was some kind of like bird swapping ray.
Maybe.
Okay. But it gets even weirder.
Lay it on me.
So they say these robot birds, they're all powered wirelessly.
Wireless power?
Wireless power. And they get this power by sitting on power lines.
Okay, hold on a second.
We've all seen birds perched on power lines, right?
Right.
But wirelessly charging something as energy hungry as a bird?
That's a whole other ballgame.
I mean, think about it.
You know those wireless charging pads for your phone?
Yeah.
They work, sure, but they're not exactly pumping out megawatts of power.
Right.
And even then, you got to have your phone, like, practically touching the thing.
True.
Now imagine trying to beam enough juice to keep a bird airborne from, what, several feet away.
The efficiency would be like practically zero.
Plus birds, they're not just, like, hovering there.
Right.
They're flapping, they're soaring, they're fighting off squirrels at the feeder.
That takes a ton of energy, way more than any long-distance wireless charging could provide.
Okay, so that part's a little sus.
But they had an explanation for that, too.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
All right, I'm listening.
They cited this,
This study by Dr. Fornstein?
Dr. Fornstein, yeah, on like.
Energy harvesting in urban wildlife or something like that? Energy harvesting in urban wildlife. And this Dr. Fornstein, they're like, a big deal in the world of bird-based energy research.
That's what the document says.
Well, I got to tell you, I've spent a good chunk of my life digging through scientific journals, and I've never come across this Dr. Fornstein.
Really?
Not a single paper, not a conference presentation, not even a mention in a footnote.
Huh. That is weird.
It's almost like this Dr. Fornstein doesn't actually exist.
Do you think they made it up?
What's more likely, that a groundbreaking scientist with a theory like this managed to stay completely under the radar, or that someone, somewhere, got a little creative with their citations.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But what about the whole, like, no heat thing?
Ah, yes, the bird bots emit no heat claim.
Because robots are known for running cold, right?
Have you ever touched a lizard?
Those things are practically ice cold, especially if they've been hanging out in the shade.
That's because lizards, they're cold-blooded.
They rely on external sources of heat, like the sun, to regulate their body temperature.
Oh.
Birds, on the other hand, they're warm-blooded, just like us.
They've got this internal furnace going on, keeping them at a toasty temperature, somewhere around, what, 105 degrees Fahrenheit, give or take?
Wow, really?
Oh, yeah.
I never knew that.
And that internal heat, it's not just to keep them comfy on a chilly day.
It's crucial for their metabolism, their energy levels, and especially for powering those powerful flight muscles.
So no way a bird could be a robot.
Not without some seriously advanced, like, heat-generating technology.
Exactly. And even then, wouldn't you notice a bunch of pigeons huddled around a heat lamp in the middle of winter? That's a good point.
Okay, so no wireless power.
No lack of heat.
But what about the feathers?
Ah, yes, the feathers. The document claims these robotic spies are covered in some kind of, like, super advanced material.
Right.
That perfectly mimics the look and feel of real feathers.
Now, I'll grant you material science has come a long way. We've got fabrics that change color, materials that heal themselves, the works.
But replicating the complexity of a feather,
that's a whole different ballgame.
We're talking about thousands of tiny interlocking barbs.
Arranged in a way that's both lightweight and incredibly strong.
Not to mention their aerodynamic properties. Feathers are, like, evolution's masterpiece.
And to be honest, we humans haven't quite cracked the code yet.
So you're saying there's no way we could make something that convincing?
Not yet, at least. Maybe someday in the future, who knows. But for now, I'd say those birds outside your window, they're the real deal.
Wow, so this whole robot bird thing.
It's pretty out there.
It is, isn't it?
But I gotta say, it's kind of impressive how much effort someone put into this.
I know, right? They even came up with their own, albeit fictional, scientific evidence.
Huh.
It really makes you wonder why go through all that trouble.
Exactly. Like, what's the point of creating this whole elaborate hoax?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why do people create and believe in conspiracy theories even when they seem so outlandish?
That's a really good question.
I think, in a way, conspiracy theories often tap into our deepest fears and anxieties.
How so?
Think about it. The world can feel like a very complex and unpredictable place.
Definitely.
Sometimes it feels like things are spinning out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, it's natural to look for explanations to try and make sense of it all.
Right.
Conspiracy theories, even if they're not true, they offer a kind of order to the chaos.
So you're saying that people find comfort in these explanations.
In a way, yes.
But in this case, like, how does the whole bird as robots thing...
How does that tap into our fears?
Well, think about what birds represent in this theory.
They're not just birds anymore, they're symbols of surveillance, of unseen forces watching our every move.
And that fear of surveillance, of being watched and controlled, it's a very real anxiety for a lot of people, especially in today's world.
That's true.